From the outside, modern flying looks mechanical, almost indifferent. A metal body, 2 engines, a destination blinking on a departure board. But step inside and something quieter begins to unfold, a carefully engineered experience designed not to impress you loudly, but to make you forget you are moving at nearly the speed of sound through air too thin to breathe. Comfort, in today's aviation world, is no longer an upgrade reserved for the front cabin. It is a philosophy embedded into the aircraft itself, refined over decades and perfected in subtle layers most passengers never consciously notice. The lighting that greets you during boarding is not random. It is calibrated to ease the transition from terminal glare to cabin calm, gently guiding your circadian rhythm before you even reach cruising altitude. The soundscape, too, is deliberate. Engines once roared with dominance, but modern nacelle design, insulation materials, and airflow engineering have softened that noise into a steady, almost meditative hum, a background presence rather than a disruption. Over the last decade, airlines and manufacturers have realized something powerful. True luxury is not spectacle, it is absence. Absence of strain, absence of fatigue, absence of friction. Even the pressurization systems, invisible and automatic, now mimic a lower cabin altitude than older generations of aircraft, subtly reducing the heaviness you used to feel upon landing, making long-haul travel feel less like endurance and more like transition. Look at the seats and you see fabric, stitching, perhaps a sculpted shell, but beneath that surface lies an orchestration of ergonomics. Angles designed to support the spine's natural curve, cushioning layered to distribute weight over hours, armrests positioned to prevent shoulder tension, tray tables damped to close softly without vibration. It is not just about space, it is about geometry. From the outside it looks simple, a row of chairs, but inside it is a study in human posture at 35,000 feet. Then there is light, the most underestimated luxury in aviation. Modern cabins use dynamic LED systems that shift in tone as the flight progresses. Cooler hues for boarding efficiency, warmer ambers for meal service, deep blues and violets during rest phases, all synchronized to reduce jet lag and create a sense of temporal flow. You may not notice the change, but your body does. The best flights are the ones you barely notice, because every adjustment has been made before discomfort has the chance to form. Even the overhead bins, redesigned to pivot and contour more naturally, reduce the subtle anxiety of boarding congestion. Aisle widths, galley layouts, and lavatory acoustics are studied in mock-up labs long before an aircraft ever carries passengers. And while much of the engineering is hidden, the service rhythm completes the experience. Premium carriers choreograph cabin service like a quiet performance. Carts glide rather than rattle, meal trays are plated with intention. Fabrics are selected not only for durability but for tactile warmth. There is a cadence to it, ascent, meal, dimmed cabin, stillness, gradual reawakening. On long-haul routes that cross continents and cultures, this rhythm becomes even more refined. Routes linking financial capitals or leisure destinations carry expectations shaped by local culture, and airlines respond with subtle details. Textiles inspired by regional design, menus reflecting origin and destination, amenity kits that feel curated rather than promotional. Yet none of it shouts for attention. Luxury, in aviation's most mature form, whispers. Even the windows play a role. Larger panes invite natural light at cruise, while advanced dimming systems allow individual control without disrupting the cabin's overall mood, balancing personal preference with collective atmosphere. Air filtration systems refresh cabin air continuously, blending outside air with recirculated streams through high-efficiency filters, creating an environment that feels neutral rather than stale, a detail you only appreciate when it is absent elsewhere. The result is a paradox. We sit inside a pressurized aluminum fuselage suspended above weather systems and mountain ranges, yet we experience calm, controlled stability. From the outside it looks like speed and power. Inside it feels like measured quiet. That is the transformation modern aviation has mastered. Not extravagance, but precision. Not noise, but control. Airlines competing in a crowded global market understand that comfort is engineered, not accidental. They invest in cabin mock-ups, passenger feedback labs, acoustic simulations, and material science not to create spectacle, but to remove irritation. The armrest that doesn't wobble. The reading light that doesn't glare. The seatbelt that rests softly against fabric instead of digging into your waist. These are micro decisions, multiplied by millions of passengers, forming the reputation of a brand. And perhaps that is the real story of modern flying, the pursuit of invisibility. When turbulence is absorbed smoothly by wing design and flight control systems, when the cabin remains stable and conversations continue uninterrupted, when you land feeling composed rather than depleted, you are experiencing a silent collaboration between engineers, designers, and crew. It is easy to forget the complexity because it has been resolved before you ever stepped on board. In an age obsessed with louder forms of luxury, aviation's most impressive achievement may be restraint, the discipline to refine rather than exaggerate. Because at altitude, surrounded by horizon and cloud, what we crave is not drama but ease. And when a flight ends and you realize you barely noticed the hours passing, that is not coincidence, it is design. This is the quiet luxury of modern flying, and if you appreciate the details that make travel feel effortless, you are already part of comfort class.